National parks are some of the most beautiful places one can visit, but at the same time they're also full of hidden crevices, loose boulders, harsh weather conditions and predators. This means that every year people sometimes vanish into thin air never to be seen again. Yellowstone National Park is one place where people have been reported missing. However, what many aren't aware of is that many of these disappearances aren't covered by the news, so the vast majority of people don't know that these individuals are missing. One such example of this is the disappearance of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell decided to go hiking at Yellowstone National Park, but he never returned. It was on the 6th of April 1991 when Dan's friend dropped him and his dog off at the Hell-Roaring Creek trailhead. The 47-year-old was intending to collect antlers on his hike to Jardine, Montana. However, he never reached his final destination. His girlfriend called local authorities, reporting that Dan was overdue from his hike. A large-scale search commenced 3 days after his disappearance, yet no one found any sign of him. The National Park Service, the US Forest Service and the FBI were all involved in the unsuccessful ground and aerial investigation. However, Dan's two brothers publicly stated that they were not satisfied with the search. They believed that their brother may have suffered a more sinister fate. They felt it was suspicious no one had found any remains of Dan or his dog. They suspected their brother may have been murdered by some dubious people he dealt with in the illegal antler trade. Rob Campbell publicly stated he believed his brother had been buried in the park. Dan allegedly collected antlers to pay his bills and funded a move to White Sulphur Springs. Authorities have speculated that he may have purposely disappeared to avoid his dismal financial situation, yet Dan's family insist he's not the type to deliberately vanish. In the months following his disappearance, his brothers urged authorities to conduct lie detector tests on Dan's acquaintances. However, this request was denied by investigators. 9 years later, in 2000, his family filed a lawsuit against Park County Sheriff Charles Johnson, claiming he botched the investigation. They were not happy with the sheriff treating the case solely as a disappearance, rather than a murder. After employing a private investigator, they acquired evidence stating that there was 14 other antler hunters in the area during their time. One of them even stated they heard 2 shots. Most of this evidence has since been disposed of or lost. During the original search, firearms and ammunition were seized from some of the antler hunters in the area. However, these items were returned to their owners without fingerprinting or investigation. No further clues of Dan's whereabouts eventuated from these leads. While he was an experienced outdoorsman, park officials believed that Yellowstone's rough terrain could be challenging for even the best hikers. Its dense foliage and uneven ground could easily conceal a person, making it difficult for searchers to find any signs of life. Even after their large-scale effort, authorities stated they had no clue about Dan's whereabouts. While it may be unclear what happened to Dan, heavy snowstorms and high winds hit the air in the days following his disappearance, slimming the chances of finding him alive. Dan Campbell's disappearance continues to be a mystery for authorities. Campbell was last seen in Sweetgrass County, Montana on April 6, 1991. He lived in Big Timber, Montana, and his friends dropped him off with his dog at Hell-Roaring Creek trailhead in Yellowstone National Park. Campbell was apparently planning to hike through Jardine, Montana, but he never arrived in Jardine and has never been heard from again. The search began on April 9th, but turned up no indication of Campbell or his dog's whereabouts. Few details are available in his case, but it's likely he got lost or injured and passed away somewhere in Yellowstone's backcountry. Retired park rangers have also detailed some of the strange things that they've encountered while working, with one individual going on to say the following: "I worked for the National Park Service for over 25 years, and during this time I encountered many strange things, along with hearing a bunch of bizarre stories that never got answered. Some of the strangest disappearances involve those that seem to vanish into thin air, leaving no tracks, no hiking gear, no signs that they was even there in the first place. We've had stories come in from people who've said that they've somehow moved thousands of meters in a matter of seconds, with some saying that they blacked out and woke up somewhere entirely different, again saying that there were no signs around them that could have explained how this happened. Although these are brushed aside by the National Park Service, they still happened, and sometimes it messes with your head because it's asked along with the individual who's left asking questions. They get brushed aside because they don't sound realistic, but people are experiencing strange things in national parks. I think at this point it's important to note that many disappearances do come down to people not respecting these locations and not coming equipped with the right gear. There are many things in these national parks that can make a trip go sideways, but there's also some disappearances that never get answers. Something that hardly gets mentioned is that of animals that were distorted by troubled individuals. This happened on a number of occasions, to not only myself but also my co-workers. Although it's obvious that these were done by people, they always seem to get away with it." End quote. Disappearances of people in national parks have gained notoriety ever since the Missing 411 was published. If there's one certainty, it is that at least one person a year will go missing at any of the 419 national parks, although the actual annual number is estimated to be over 1,000 missing people. There's a plethora of things that can go wrong when visiting the vast wilderness. The cruelty of nature is no joke, and many people find themselves on the losing side of a battle against survival. Many cases can merely be speculated upon, and although some of these cases do eventually get solved, there's many that will remain a mystery. Though the IBS, or Investigative Services branch of the law enforcement, generally try to solve cases as efficiently and quickly as possible, this sadly is not always the case, and most often than not cases tend to grow cold for months or years afterwards. Someone was live streaming a video from Singapore when they accidentally captured something strange. The video in question shows what appears to be a large circular opening in the sky, with other users saying that they could see lights flying in and out of the opening. This reminded some of the strange sky cities that have been witnessed all around the world. Some users questioned whether the military was carrying out some experiments in the area, or had something to do with the weather. Others said this could have been created by mysterious flying aircrafts, going on to say this is just the latest sighting to be made from a major city, further detailing that in the past few weeks there's been an increase in strange flying objects over major cities. This mysterious phenomenon has been reported in various countries, with users saying that similar formations have been seen above the United States and England. What's interesting is that in the middle of these circles people have said they can see what appears to be lines, describing them as looking like large orbs, being much smaller than a passenger plane, possessing the ability to hover motionless, and also being able to disappear within the blink of an eye. Others went down a different route and suggested that this strange formation could have been created by scientists, with others agreeing by saying that scientists are forever conducting experiments. These strange formations have led some to dig a little deeper, and many were surprised to learn that we have the ability to control the weather. In fact, a patent that was created back in April of 1951 details that US officials were looking at using devices in order to change weather conditions. This isn't a secret either. Scientists and officials have been open about this and its side effects, but have said that it has many positives. In fact, a few months ago an article detailed how researchers in Beijing used cloud seeding to create artificial rain, and said they did this in order to bring around blue skies. The 1951 patent reads as follows. This invention relates to a process for affecting changes in weather conditions, and more specifically to a process for dissipating clouds and fog, by clearing the atmosphere of moisture particles that are large enough to be visible, and yet not large enough to fall out of suspension in the gases of the atmosphere. Generally, the overall object of the present invention is directed to the control of weather conditions. Another object of this invention is to control weather which causes hail damage, lightning and interferences with wave transmissions, by the reduction of water vapor through the dissipation of cumulonimbus clouds. Another object of this invention is the control of weather by dissipating typhoons, hurricanes and other storm centers by the dissipation of the convective clouds forming the weather phenomena. Another object of the present invention is the control of weather causing snow and sleet in heavily populated areas, where large quantities are particularly undesirable because of its effects on traffic conditions. Another object of the present invention is the process of dissipating weather frontal systems, which cause floods due to continuous rains. Another object of the present invention is to provide rain in designated areas, and this is by the use of this weather control process. Another object of the present invention is to provide desirable weather for sport events, and all other outdoor recreational activities which require good weather. In order that there's a complete understanding of this present invention, it will be necessary to explain the cause of certain weather phenomena, and the effect of this practice of the processes in the instant invention weather phenomena. Meteorologically speaking, a cloud is the formation of a body of moisture particles that's been lifted adiabatically, in which they've reached the dew point of the body of air in which they're found. The particle size of the water vapor develops upon condensation, to the point where they become visible to the eye, and yet their particle size is not sufficiently great so as to affect their stability in the atmosphere, by causing them to feel the effects of gravity pulling them out of suspension. This latter effect would cause them to fall in the nature of precipitation out of the atmosphere and onto the earth below. A parcel of air at the surface containing a given moisture content, and at a given relative humidity less than 100%, will cause the parcel of air to rise until it reaches the saturation point. At this point, the moisture particles become visible to the eye and form what is commonly known as a cloud. The continuous surface heating causes this cloud to continue to develop in substantial proportions, depending first on the additional amount of surface heating that's given to the air mass, and depending on the moisture content and the stability of the upper air layers. Pressure decreases with increased elevation according to a fixed rate. This is a variable factor, but the decrease is continuous." End quote. As of right now, people are still reporting that these formations are showing up in large cities, and it's anyone's guess as to what they are and how they're being formed. One user said they saw some comments suggesting that they could have been drones, but said that these lights have been observed in the sky for almost an hour, and noted that they don't match the overall description of a drone. So what do you make of these interesting photographs, and what do you think is causing this phenomena? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below. It'd help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.